Hi everybody, this is Valerie from Lexis. This short video, I'm going to try to make it short, is going to focus on when you're writing a paper that is calling for legislative intervention or is examining legislation that is already out there, pending legislation, how the court should interpret things, that kind of thing. So, what I'm going to start with is I'm just going to give you kind of a quick outline, and I'm going to email you also a handout that has the outline set up for you. But essentially, it's like this: you give your intro, and in your intro, you're going to include your thesis and whatever sort of like open question is that you're dealing with, and then from there, it pretty much breaks out into 4 parts, sometimes 5. Part 1 is the background of the law that you're dealing with. So in my instance, we're going to talk about today about drones and privacy and how that should be regulated. That's something that the legislator would have to do, and then the case law would interpret what the statutes have done. Okay, so it kind of depends where you are in the process of a particular piece of legislation to think about what your paper will focus on. But generally, the part 1 would be the background of the law or maybe the technology that's at issue. So for instance, you might talk about like how drones work and why that might be invading privacy. Then you move into part 2, which is the analysis. This is where you kind of like discuss the potential open questions that are at issue. And then maybe you might compare it to another area of law. So like with drones and privacy, maybe you compare it to like Google Street View and what if the courts and stuff and legislators have done with that concept. So you lay out like the law, then you lay out the legislation that's currently on the books and what's pending, and you kind of then you analyze it. Well, have they done enough? Have they not done enough? Is this, addressing all the major issues that are out there? Is this, adequately incorporating the law that's on the books now? Or is this going to be the kind of thing where courts are going to have to sort of like reinterpret, long-standing areas of privacy law, for instance, because of legislation that they've drafted? Then part 3, and then you kind of like then you talk about all that. That takes a while. Then part 3, you look at what the impact and significance is of drone legislation. What are the larger policy considerations that we need to think about? What is our expectation of privacy? You can ask a lot of different questions. What if the drone sees, a crime being committed? Would then they be able to then utilize that? That sort of thing. You kind of talk about the what ifs, the slippery slopes, what needs to be considered. And then part 4, the student maybe would propose legislation or propose some sort of solution to the problem or a call to action for, the state or the federal or, something like that. And then you conclude, and that's your paper. So now that you kind of have an idea of the overview, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get the research. The research is going to basically fall into a few different categories. You're going to start with, for you guys, is probably going to be law reviews written already on the topic so that you can understand the law better. And then you want to use those law review articles that already have laid out large backgrounding pieces, and you can use that and their citations to help you with your own backgrounding pieces. So you're going to start with law reviews, you're going to look at the news, and then we're going to go into legislative history and legislation so you kind of have an idea about how to go through that. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to say drone within the same paragraph, right, because I like the /p, privacy. Okay, so you can do that, and then I'm going to click search. Now let's say that you decide in your paper that you want to have a California focus on this. You want to see, okay, you're going to maybe look at what the feds have done, but then also a lot of times what happens in California is that they make something more restrictive. So you'll want to see how California is handling this and if they're doing a good job, if this should be model legislation, that sort of thing. So I'm going to click over here and I'm going to go to see the law reviews. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. secondary legal. So you click secondary legal, you go and you scroll down and you're going to refine by law reviews. And then I want you to resort from newest to oldest. Now, because I now know that I have I'm going to do a California focus. You see here you have 430 law review articles. That's a fair amount. What I suggest you do is you go over to search within results, and I'm going to type in at least, all one word, okay? And then I'm going to say the number 10, and then put California in the parentheses. And what this does is it says to Alexis, I want the word California to appear at least 10 times in my law review article, otherwise don't show it to me. This is so that you can weed out like the one-hit wonder in your paper, and you can get a much more concentrated view of law review articles. So see here how we lobbed off like 300 by doing that. Just remember, when you do it, it's all one word, and it doesn't have to be 10. You can make this bigger or smaller, depending on what you're working on. So this says protecting homeowners' privacy rights in the age of community organizations. You're like, maybe. What I want you guys to do is look at the title and then look at the date. Internet of Security of Things, privacy and the right to record. I probably would open up this one. What I think you guys should do too is just read some law review articles so you have an idea about how they're set up. And if you like certain ways that some law reviews are organized, then you can just kind of use that same organization and outline for your own article. So you click in here, and then what you do is you read the privacy introduction. This is kind of what I talked about already. And as you scroll down this article, this is what I want you guys to do. This is called the roadmap here. And it gives you part 1, implications, part 2, and finally part 4, intersection between privacy and the right to record, providing examples. Okay. So expanding the First Amendment. This is the kind of your backgrounding piece. It just kind of helps you understand. And then just like by the way, all these little footnotes, you then get to go use for your own law review. Then you're like, oh, this law review might be helpful. I'm going to go read this, and I'm going to go read that. And then you go take those citations and you put them in your own articles. That's how I want you guys to think about this. So, okay, so that's getting law reviews, okay? Now, we're going to use the same search up here. You know what else I want you to do? I'm going to go back, and I want you to take your topic, and I want to set up an alert. So what I did is I searched by subject matter, right? Drone, the same paragraph as privacy. And now I want law review articles and news articles and things like that sent to me that are on my topic. So you click the bell, which we did. You go to monitor. So it's going to look in secondary material already. That's law reviews. You're going to want to see cases. You're for sure going to want to see statutes. And you're also going to want to see the news. And then you click create alert, okay? The other thing that you want to do is you want to go over here before you hit create alert and click deliver. Scroll down and stick in your email address, and then you hit create alert. When you want to cancel your alert, you stop writing the paper, you don't care about it anymore, you go up here to more and you click alerts here, and this will allow you to modify, also see the alerts that you have. You don't have to have them go to your email if you don't want. So we created the alert, which is key, showed you how to work through the law reviews. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the news. So we're going to keep the same search. We're going to go over here to news. And this will give you, the reason why I like you guys to look at the news and not just law reviews is because look at this, Congress defends power of local authorities to regulate drone privacy. That is really good for you. This is something you get to stick in your, in your analysis section, and also in the impact and significance section, because this says, well, wait a second. If I'm focusing on California, what is San Francisco going to do? What is Los Angeles going to do? It gives you a lot of different ways that you can come at your article. And you wouldn't even know to talk about this if you hadn't seen this. So what you do is you take this and you click, and then now you can stick it in a folder. So you go up to folders. You can say choose a folder if you have one. Otherwise, you can choose a folder and and create a new folder, okay? The other piece, of course, is you want to resort this from newest to oldest. And then you can see stuff that might, drone makes aerial pics cheaper. Invasion of privacy, top list of concerns about commercial drone use. Beautiful, very, very helpful for you. Helps you understand the law. This is, you can cite to these type of things. Okay, so that's that. That's the news. And then the final place I want you guys to go is to statutes and legislation. So let's click over here. Now, if there's something that's already on the book, Drone Craft Privacy and Transparency Act, you're going to want to read this. This, to me, is a bill. You see, this has not been passed. This is a bill. So you're going to want to examine this bill, see if there's been any recent additions to the bill. You're also going to want to look and see what they've done in California, which is over here. So you click California. When you're thinking about legislative history, that's what this stuff is. Legislative bill history, the full bill text, that kind of thing. Okay, now you can't resort this from newest to oldest. You see here how it doesn't offer that to you? So what you can do is search within results and say, well, I want to see what they've done in 2017, and then search within your results from here. This gives you the 2017 things that they've been working on. The other thing I just want to note is I'm going to take out California for a second. When you're dealing with the federal piece, if that's what you guys are doing, I just want you to note that I'm going to take out 2017 too. When you scroll down, this is legislative history. Okay, wait, let me refine this by federal. All right, now I'm going to scroll down. This is legislative history, congressional hearings, congressional record. These are people that go and testify. This is when you're trying to find like what the intent is of a particular piece of legislation. This is where you go to find it, the record, the hearings, the documents, all this kind of stuff. Okay, we have a lot, but I just want you to know that that's what this is. This is the bill tracking report, so you can see the different iterations of a bill before it becomes law. Okay. And then that's pretty much it. So you would examine the legislation, and then you would and again, you critique it. Have they done enough? Do they need to do something different, more, that kind of thing. So if you have questions, let me know. You can always email me, and I hope this was helpful to you. Okay.